All right, welcome everyone. Thank you, Raheem, for that wonderful introduction. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm even more excited to share with you guys this new technology that happens to be a fiat currency in our global economy. So if you guys haven't heard much about Bitcoin, you will. And if you don't know much about it, well, I'm happy you're here today because that's what we're here to talk about. So before we get started, let's do a sound check real quick, and let us make sure that you guys can hear me, that your speakers are on. If you turn your volume up to a level that you can hear me, that's comfortable for you, and shut down any programs because that can help reduce the bandwidth. So if you guys, we have a few moments, we still have a few moments here. So if you guys wanted to, you guys can share this with your friends. And here goes the link here if you guys wanted to. And get them on here so that they can learn, just like you are, about this new digital currency that exists inside of our global economy. All right, so I think we're ready. Everyone's in. Looks like everyone's ready to go. We still got a few people straggling in, but we can get started. Okay, so who am I? Why am I talking to you about Bitcoin? What do I know about Bitcoin? I've been following Bitcoin since about 2011, really early, and I'm an early adopter of all technology. I built my first 3D printer about 2 years ago, and it was the largest one in the state of Florida. So I'm a technologist. I do product and tech management for local companies here in Gainesville, Florida, and I co-founded a social media startup back in 2012 out of the Innovation Hub at the University of Florida. I absolutely love open source, and depending on what you talk to me about, I might sound like a big nerd. I've spent my career literally trying to find and identify technical opportunities. Now, what I'm not, right? What I'm not. I'm not an expert in the developing world or an expert presenter. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in this developing world, in my opinion, is a tremendous opportunity. It's going to focus more on our currency, and it is a competitor to our dollar. So let that sink in for a minute. Now, I want to focus more on the technology than the applications that surround Bitcoin. And I also want to state that I'm mostly interested in Bitcoin's technological possibilities and not its underlying political message. And full disclosure, we're going to go over some pretty tough, crazy, hard to understand material. So bear with me, guys. It's not uncommon if this is kind of hard to understand. It's new technology. So we do have to kind of educate ourselves and wrap our head around what's actually happened so that we can benefit from this. So if you have any questions, write them down. We're going to have live Q&A directly after this webinar. So if you guys have any questions and you want to know a little bit more, I'll be available to help you get there. Okay, so what are we going to cover here today? I want to make sure that at the very least we cover what is a Bitcoin, right? You guys understand what a Bitcoin is, how much to spend in Bitcoin, getting a good understanding of what your investment portfolio is going to look like in Bitcoin, why 2018 is going to be a remarkable year for cryptocurrency, probably the best one ever, and how you buy Bitcoin, how you mine, not how you mine, but what Bitcoin mining is. And we'll talk about that and the role that it plays in Bitcoin, and how you invest safely into cryptocurrency and protect yourself from this boom that's happening, but will eventually pop. So we're going to talk about that, how we can identify which ones are going to hold value and which ones won't. So just a quick Bitcoin backstory. Bitcoin was invented in 2009 by a person or a group named Satoshi Nakamoto. And the stated goal was to create an electronic cash system that was completely decentralized with no server or central authority. Now, after they cultivated this concept and technology in 2011, the group or person, Satoshi Nakamoto, they turned over the source code and domains to the Bitcoin community, and subsequently they just vanished. So it's really difficult to talk about Bitcoin without talking about money, because it is, as I mentioned, is a competitor to our dollar and all dollars. So let's just really quickly go over some loose history. Let's go over the evolution of money really quickly. You know, our currency has seen many transitions throughout our existence, from the exchange of gold to the exchange of cash to credit, and then now cryptocurrency, right? And our cash used to be backed by our gold, and I believe Nixon changed that, and now I'm not sure what it's backed by, but it's not backed by gold. So we also have PayPal, Venmo, and some of these other, which is, we're still living in a digital age anyway. So this digital currency we're still a part of, and cryptocurrency is just a new digital currency that exists. So as a society, what's pretty crazy is that we've gotten accustomed to allowing third-party institutions to govern over our currency, and more importantly, take part in all of our transactions and hold that really personal information, right? Because our transactions are personal. Now, let us take an imaginary time machine and let us go back to medieval times to a place called Venice, right? There's masks, there's parties, there's canals, you're loving the whole scene. Now, let us imagine a little further, and let us imagine that we're the Doge of Venice, right? We're someone with authority. And you as a Doge, you have so much gold, so much wealth, but you don't want to lug around all this gold to purchase mercenaries for your new estate. Now let's pause there for a second. Why do we use gold in the first place? All right, so it's scarce is one reason. It's divisible up to a certain point is another reason. And it's difficult to fake. And who doesn't like shiny things, right? So, but the weight and the physical security of it all, it's crazy. So what's a ruler like you supposed to do? Luckily for you, your good friend Mercutio here specializes in storing of gold. And you trust your good friend Mercutio, especially since he started using double bookkeeping accounting, which is another Venetian competitive advantage. And apparently everybody else loves Mercutio as well, right? So they begin storing their gold with Mercutio. So now all you have to do is give someone a note that says, here, redeem these 5 bars of gold at Mercutio's. And what we have effectively done is metaphorically created the modern financial system, except that gold has been replaced by the full faith of the sovereign government to repay its debts, and Mercutio is replaced by an elaborate system of multinational banks. Now, there's a lot to like in this system. Alongside capitalism and the rule of law, it pulled billions out of poverty. It also led us to an exponential technological progress curve that we're experiencing here today. But let's go back to Mercutio really quickly, okay? And he has the trust of an entire city. What if he ever decides to abuse that trust? Or in a more likely scenario, knowing Mercutio, he unknowingly engages in some poor investments. And now let's just say Mercutio uses your gold to buy some quote unquote legit Danish mortgages from his good friend Horatio, which he can sell for some guaranteed returns. Now, the ruler of Venice, and now you, the ruler of Venice, and Mercutio's other customers, you lose all your precious gold when his investment goes south, right? So what are you supposed to do? Well, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. We've just created a very simple version of the 2008 financial crisis, right? What you see here is a less simple slice of this crisis. So I won't go into detail because I'm certain that we've heard tons and tons of things on this topic. But it was pretty easy to see how the crisis caused some really epic moral hazard issues and revealed a lot of systematic problems in our financial system. The system is literally fundamentally based on trust. And when that trust is abused, really, really bad things happen. Well, welcome to the land of Bitcoin. If you can guess, Bitcoin is a direct response to the 2008 financial crisis. Even though it had a lot of technological evolution before then, it's really a fundamental reimagining of how finance, banking, and money could work in a completely internet-connected age. Simply, let's just real simply say, what is a Bitcoin? It's a digital currency. There's no bills to print, and there's no what is it? No coins to mint. It's completely decentralized. There's no government. There's no institution like banks. There's no central authority that controls it absolutely at all. Owners are completely anonymous. Instead of using your names, your tax IDs, or security numbers, Bitcoin connects buyers and sellers through encrypted keys. And if it if it isn't issued from, how do I say this? It isn't issued from the top down like traditional currency. Bitcoin is mined, right? And we're going to get into that. But it's mined by powerful computers. Okay. What I love about it, it's really predicated on two extremely simple ideas. One is the trusting of third parties can lead to abuse, like Mercutio's bad real estate deal or our 2008 financial crisis. So Bitcoin said, I don't want to trust in anyone, right? I want to operate in a world where I don't have to trust anyone. But at the same time, the genius idea that Bitcoin had was, I want to trust in a global ledger, right? You see, Mercutio's value wasn't in the ability for him to store their gold. His value was in this amazing ledger that everyone trusted. So we all looked at that ledger and said, okay, we agree that Mercutio holds valid information about the Doge sending 5 bars of gold to someone else. So Bitcoin says, why don't we take this ledger, make it open, canonical, and global, and make it so that everyone can trust this. So if you couldn't tell by the color schemes that I had up there, trusting in no one and trusting in a single global ledger, they're at odds with each other. But the technological miracle behind Bitcoin is it takes these ideas as a basis. It combines some amazing cryptographic coding and some smart incentives like magic. It really reconciles these ideas and makes them work. And we're going to dive deeper into that. So how does Bitcoin work? And unfortunately, it's not so easy to explain. So bear with me as I walk you through this, okay? I'm going to do my best. So let's start at the most granular level. All right. Let's say Mike gave Jimmy some beer, and he wanted to send Mike some money for it. Right. This is the traditional drugs for Bitcoin example that the media really likes to push around. Okay. So in today's world, let's just say if I were to write him a check for the entire process, this process would require both of our bank account numbers, a rather alarming amount of personal information to set up these bank accounts in the first place, and several days. And since neither Michael or Jimmy are proprietors of or licensed proprietors of alcohol, the ATF would probably get involved if it was a large enough transaction. Okay. Now let's go to Bitcoin land. In Bitcoin land, it's considerably less involved, even though it's a lot harder to explain. Instead of signing up for bank accounts, both Michael and Jimmy have what's called software wallets. And these wallets are open source. For a minute, let's just define open source. What that means is that any application or software or code that's open source, 99.9% of them sit on what's a website called github.com. It's a repository that houses all of this open source. And when you have an open source that's sitting on these repositories, developers can look at the source code and really identify what is happening inside of the source code. So they can dictate whether if there's funny business going on or not. And that's really the power behind open source, is that trust. You build trust by allowing people to see what you're doing. And with that, they're like, great, this is genius. We love it. So it's not so much about worrying about getting your stuff stolen or copied. It's so much about building that trust. And Bitcoin is an open source, along with these wallet softwares that you have on your phone are open source. So when you hear open source, it's always a great thing. And so the wallets are open source that Michael and Jimmy have, and to get these wallets, it doesn't require Social Security, it doesn't require your driver's license, it doesn't require any application process whatsoever. The software allows you to create practically a limitless number of public addresses and private key pairs, all which essentially function as an individual bank account. Bam. Let's stop there for a second. Now, If I haven't already lost you, I'm pretty sure that you're a little confused when you heard the term public and private key pairs. And this may seem like a weird concept for some of you, and that's okay, right? But I'm going to go through this really quickly and briefly so that you can get a good understanding of what public and private key pairs really mean. Okay. So let's just say, for example, a public address in Bitcoin land is a lot like your house address. So your house is sitting on a block and people can walk by this block and they can see your address as they walk by, right? They can probably see the windows and peek through in the yard and know that a house is there and that there's an address there. So it's a real house, but you don't know who lives in there and you don't know who owns it, or you don't know the contents that are inside this house. You just know it's there, right? So a public address in Bitcoin land is a lot like that. And a private key is a lot like the physical key that unlocks the door and gives you access to the contents that are inside this address. Now, if you notice on the screen, it's Bitcoin public address, and that's what a Bitcoin public address looks like. That's what you'd be sharing with people. And then a Bitcoin private, it's supposed to say private key. That's what a private key would look like. Excuse me. So now that you have the key to the address of that home, you can unlock that door and have access to the valuables in it. And if you wanted to, you could send those valuables to another address, right? That's up to you. And no one would have to know. So this is a reasonable metaphor for public addresses and private keys. Now, in Bitcoin land, unlike a physical address, what's pretty cool here is that the Bitcoin's public address and the addresses that you have in your wallet software, they're these lightweight cryptographic constructs. This means that you can generate a limitless number of addresses. Okay, they effectively create like an unlimited bank account is what you're doing. Unlimited bank accounts is what you're doing with them, right? So the probability of the way that you're generating these public addresses and private keys, right? What you're probably thinking is, what's the probability of someone else creating the same one? It's like, it'll never happen in the lifetime of the universe, according to how Bitcoin is set up. Okay, so you can create a limitless number, and the probability of someone else creating the same pair is not probable in the lifetime of this universe. Okay, so what is happening when I'm sending a Bitcoin to someone, right? Let's dive into that a little bit, because you're not so much sending as you are reassigning. We'll touch on that right now. See, what's actually happened when Jimmy sends a Bitcoin to Mike, in reality, it's not so much sending as it is, like I said, reassigning this Bitcoin. Because what I'm doing is I'm taking the Bitcoins that I have in my address and I'm reassigning them to an address that Michael controls and has the private key to. One more time. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the Bitcoins that are in my address and I'm reassigning them to an address that Michael controls and has a private key to. Okay. And I do this by what's called signing the transaction with my private key. Now this is really that part of the cryptographic magic that I talk about that Bitcoin has. Now what's cool here is anyone can see this transaction, right? They can see it and they know for a fact that I signed it and I approved this transaction, but I absolutely never ever reveal my private key. No one could ever know what that private key is, so they can never control it. But everyone who sees the transaction knows for a fact that I authorized it. Now, this is done through what's called a one-way function, and that's just another rabbit hole that I won't get into. But if you're interested on this concept, I'll be happy to send you more links, okay? All right, so this is where it gets mind-blowing. Okay, the transaction that I sign that everyone can tell that I authorized by me without revealing this private key of mine, I don't just send it to Michael, I send it to the entire Bitcoin network. Okay, it propagates through what's called these Bitcoin nodes, which are just other people on the network, and it propagates remarkably quickly throughout the entire network. And soon you can see our transaction that we just did. So really quickly, let's think about this. Why am I sending this to the entire network and not to Michael, not just to Michael individually? Okay, because everyone that chooses to has an entire copy of this ledger. Okay, every transaction that ever occurred in Bitcoin on this network is called the blockchain. This is a giant list of transfers that go from one public address to the next public address. What's really cool is that anyone can download their Bitcoin wallet and have the entire ledger downloaded on their computer. And the last time I checked, it was like 20 gigs a couple years ago. The reason it's called a blockchain is because every transaction is added. Every transaction that is added is called a block. Okay, so it's a long chain of these individual boxes dating back to the beginning of time in Bitcoin, to the birth of Bitcoin. Whew. So this is in contrast to that old Mercutio bank model that exists, the old Mercutio model and bank model that existed, right? And instead of a few trusted parties having this proprietary ledger, everyone has the same open global canonical ledger, right? In the old banking world, you would have to guard, this information very closely, right? Your identity and all this very, very carefully. And at best, proposing this would be preposterous. It would not be a good proposition. But in Bitcoin land, it's genius, right? Because of the public and private key cryptography, one never needs to reveal their real identity, right? They can just generate a new public address and have Bitcoin sent there at any time. And when it's there, no one will be able to move the Bitcoins, the contents, and they're in that wallet, or have access to that unless they have the private key. So the idea is that an open canonical ledger for everyone to see and trust is genius. I got something in my eye. Okay, so now it's time to add another piece to this puzzle, and it's a big one. Okay, and I saved it for last, but it's and it's a little bit more complicated is really why, but it is, oh God, it's a phenomenal piece of this puzzle. So where does a Bitcoin come from, and how can it work as a unit account, right? Let's figure that out. So let's follow the trail really quickly. Okay, so if you guys are really paying attention, your question right now, your major question is, where does the Bitcoin come from and that initial amount of the public address? Now remember, when I said that the blockchain is just this long list of reassigning of coins from one public address to the next public address, right? And it's this list of transactions, essentially. And if you follow the coin all the way back to its creation, to its birth, you find that it was created by a process called mining. Cool. So if you guys have heard this phrase, awesome, because we're going to talk about this a little bit. So what is Bitcoin mining? Okay, so to give you a reality of what's happening, the correct term for it is not mining, it's incentivized securing of the network. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to simplify it, but honestly this is a little confusing. Okay, so I apologize in advance. Remember, write your questions down. We'll get through this at the end with the live Q&A. So mining is not the correct term, right? It's incentivized securing of the network. That's more of a correct term of what's happening. So let us go back to those Bitcoin nodes that are on the network, and they all have their own copy of the entire ledger that we just talked about. So while they're collecting these transactions and they're being while they're collecting all the transactions that are being broadcasted throughout the network, they're also searching for a solution to this cryptographic puzzle that needs to be solved. And if a solution is found, they broadcast an answer to all the other nodes on the network, which in turn allows all the other Bitcoin nodes to easily verify their solution is accurate without having to go through all the work to having to find their solution themselves. This is part of that one-way function that I talked about earlier, okay? Now, stop for a second. Remember, Bitcoin nodes are just other people on the network with computing power, right? So that's food for thought. Included in the answer is all the new transactions over the network, and thus this is how a block gets added to this global ledger. So, and then the miners really start working on that next puzzle after listening to the new transactions, and they just keeps happening, solve, move, okay? And in the Bitcoin network, the miners are the ones that actually are adding the pages to this global ledger, or to say adding blocks to the blockchain. Okay. So why do they do this? Why would they mine? Well, 'cause it's profitable, right? And I'll tell you about that in a minute. So in order to find this answer, it requires a lot of computing power. It's not like someone sitting there with a calculator solving these problems. It's a lot of computing power that's going behind getting this solved. And essentially what it is just a motherboard, graphics card, and power supply. But those components are what's really driving the software to help solve this cryptographic puzzle. So what's really cool is that the difficulty of the puzzle is adjusted on the fly. It's like every 2 weeks or something like that. So the more people that are mining, the puzzle gets harder and harder and harder. More computing power has to go into it. And the reason this is important is because the harder the puzzle gets, the more secure the network gets, right? Incentivize securing of the network. That's what's happening here. So the last that well, let's go into what happens when a fake block happens, right? So Bitcoin mining is completely decentralized, right? We talked about that. And there's large groups of competing miners all around the world to help try to solve this block. And when they solve this block, they're rewarded 25 Bitcoins, right? For solving this block. And that block is broken up to, if you helped solve the puzzle, you get a percentage based on how much you helped. And we don't have to go down that rabbit hole, but and it's not necessary, but just know that it's divided up between the communities that are helping solve this block. And the puzzle that they're trying to solve here is fundamentally connected to the group of transactions. So if you're really trying to fake a block and create a fake page on the ledger, it'll modify the answer to the puzzle, and then all the other nodes in the network and be like, nah. They're going to deny it because it didn't follow the math, so it won't propagate correctly throughout the network. So it'll just get denied. So miners are competing to secure this network because they're securing the network. Because they're securing the network, as I mentioned, they're rewarded. And as of right now, it's 25 Bitcoins. 3+ years ago, it was 50 Bitcoins. As of next year, it's going to be 12.5 Bitcoins, and then half after that, and then half after that, until I think it's like 2040, where there'll be no more Bitcoins to mine. And if you guys want to know what happens after that, we can have a separate conversation about what happens when all the Bitcoins are mined, okay? But we won't go down that rabbit hole either. Right now, Bitcoins are 25 Bitcoins to mine Bitcoins if you help solve this cryptographic puzzle, this block on this blockchain. Okay, and so here goes a graph to kind of help you see what's happening, right? They secure the network, they're helping spread the coins, and then in return, they receive Bitcoin. And we as a community decided that, right? So, the value that comes behind this, right, is number one, they're securing the network. Number one, they're putting all of this time and hardware and energy into solving this. And the more that they do that, the bigger this system gets, the more profitable it is. So the total number of Bitcoins that could ever be mined, period, is 21 million. There's only 21 million Bitcoins that exist, period. Okay? And that unit could be subdivided to like the negative, it's like 10 to the negative 8th of the way. And I'm going to show you in the next slide what that looks like. It's mathematical. Okay? So ultimately, the value of the Bitcoin is very similar to like how stocks and funds are priced today. All right, so subdividing Bitcoins. This is essentially what it looks like, right? You have a Bitcoin, and it's 1.0. You have a millibitcoin, which is 0.001 of a Bitcoin, and then you have bits, which is like a millionth of a Bitcoin. So You notice the BTC, MBTC, and then under bits, the UBTC or whatever that U is there. That's what it looks like. The acronyms for Bitcoin, millibits, and bits, and that's it, guys. Now there are creating. This is evolving, right? So they have already thought of ways to help Bitcoin be managed in a way that it looks like the American, how we use dollars, right? Like $1, $2, $3, and they're already working on that so that it's easily transferable. So that when you go into a bar or you go into any place and you want to purchase something, you're able to purchase in those amounts, and it's not too confusing because we're already kind of used to our way of transacting money, right? The amounts. Guys, we've just gone over the blockchain. We've talked about this globally massive ledger. We've talked about cryptography a little bit. We've talked about how Bitcoin guarantees scarcity with the 21 million coins that no more can be created, right? Can't be diluted. We talked about how we're replacing trust in man with trust with math. And then Bitcoin mining, we touched on that a little bit, right? The importance of it. How it ensures security and how it adds a block to the blockchain, how it adds to the ledger, which is really, really important. And well, I guess at this point you guys are wondering, okay, so now I know this information. What is all this about? Why is it such a big thing? Why are people so blown away by what Bitcoin is offering? And I've talked to you about the technological advancements that it's had for us in our global economy, but let's talk about why the global demand of it is so up in a frenzy about it. And guys, it has to do with the global demand of money, right? And the global demand of money now, it's like $10 trillion a day. And if let's just take a look really quickly at a current fiat currency and some of the problems that it faces today. Right. So just to name a few, right, some of the problems that we face today with our current fiat currency, as you can see on the slides: security, forgery, double spending, centralized control, risk of inflation, risk of manipulation, currency printing, on and on. All right. So let's just say that a new currency or innovative idea was to exist that can solve the problems that you're seeing here on the screen. The demand for that new idea would be worth trillions and trillions of dollars because of what the global demand is asking. So cryptocurrencies essentially can be a much bigger market than it is today, and a lot of people speculate it is going to be. So because of the demand and the solutions that it provides, it's a wonderful avenue for this market that we're talking about. And cryptocurrencies solve a lot of problems that are created by traditional currencies. And what's really driving this demand, guys, is that the security behind it, the fact that it has control supply, the anonymity behind it, the fact that it can't be forged, and the fact that it's decentralized. These things are the driving factors of Bitcoin and really getting the attention of these big industries and corporations as to how they could take advantage and protect their assets as well. Okay, because a lot of money is lost when you look at the global trade. When you look at how money's traded on a global scale, I'm not remembering what firm said this, but it was an average of $15 billion. Just that one firm, it's $15 billion a year they lose in between the transaction of money, having to deal with the time frames in between, and time lost is money lost. So 21 million Bitcoins is all that can be created, right? Your most personal and private information are your transactions, and that's keeping us protected and secure and not in the hands of third parties. We can send money overseas. Just think that for a second. You can wake up and just send money to your friend, family member in the Philippines, in Japan, in Hawaii, and in Mexico, and you don't have to pay any wiring transfer. You don't have to get on any bank. You don't have to validate any crazy information. Guys, this is, right, it's just, think about that. And another thing that I want to point out is just kind of food for thought. We have the internet and the intranet, right? So to give you guys just a real loose definition, the internet is the public internet. You don't need access. You don't need permission. I mean, you don't need access. You don't need permission. You don't need to pay tribute. You don't need to sign up for anything. You just go on and you participate. No one overlooks that, right? So intranet, right, is similar to like what AOL and some of these other big corporations have been trying to do for many years. They've been trying to privatize the internet so that they can control the content that we see, so that they can control the markets that are online. And that's the internet and the intranet. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you best believe that right now Bitcoin is the internet of currency. I'm pretty certain that once cryptocurrency takes off, as it already is, they're creating the intranet of Bitcoin. So these are coins to watch out for that are really privatizing this, and we don't want it private, we want it public. That's the whole beauty and power behind this cryptographic magic that Bitcoin has brought to us. The challenges that Bitcoin is facing today is it's inherently slow due to the fact that the mining power and all that, it takes so much power and all that, and it takes a lot of people to continue to hit this and keep this going. Especially the bigger it grows, the more miners we're going to need. So mining requires a lot of energy, and blockchains are really hard to scale. So if you're also interested on how to scale blockchains, you can email me. We can have a separate conversation. But blockchains are really hard to scale. And the transactions right now are not inherently anonymous, only because you still have to sign up to like Coinbase.com to buy a Bitcoin. So it kind of defeats the purpose, because when you go to Coinbase.com, in order to buy a Bitcoin, you have to give them an alarming amount of information about yourself, right? So right now, to do that, I mean, unless you have someone like myself who's willing to just send you Bitcoins from one hard wallet to the next, or a paper wallet to the next, it's still not inherently anonymous. So they're still figuring out ways to make it completely anonymous so that we can use it. Japan has accepted it as a currency, so for them it's completely anonymous. It's for us here, the fact that we can't get our hands on it and most of us aren't using it is the reason why it's not inherently anonymous. Credit cards companies are charging $20, $30 just to be able to buy Bitcoin. It's crazy what they're doing to try to keep us from getting these coins. So other coins do exist in the market that are trying to solve these problems, like Dogecoin. There's Dashcoin, which is looking at the speed of solving these blockchains much quicker. You have Monero working on our privacy, Ethereum working on like an open source way for people to create coins, kind of like a WordPress for cryptocurrency. Genius. So here are some of the coins that exist that solve some of the problems on the market that you guys can take advantage of. And I personally have invested in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Monero. I've invested into Ripple. I've invested into Dogecoin, Stellar, EMC, and I've seen tremendous return up. I bought Bitcoin, I bought Ethereum at $89, and Bitcoin is $770 something. I bought Litecoin in two separate occasions, one at $39 and another one at $49. Litecoin is at like $350 something. I bought Ripple at 23 cents and then 43 cents. So you guys can really get into different, you don't have to spend big money to do this, guys. You put $200 in, $100 in, and you should just break it up between coins. You buy some Bitcoins, you buy some Ethereum, you buy some Litecoins, and we're going to go through that. We're going to go through what a lot of the experts, they use this asymmetric risk portfolio that we've used as well, and has been very successful for us. And to give you a small insight, doubling your money every 24 days. I mean, guys, I'm not even messing around. I don't know when it's going to stop, but do it wisely, and you can see huge returns with little money, right? Start off with 100, double up, and just keep going, guys. So just to give you an overview, Bitcoin right now is about $18,500. And if you bought this exactly 12 months ago, you'll see a over 2,200% growth in 1 year in your investment. That's crazy. So just an idea, $1,000 invested in December is worth, well, a little under 20,000, right? Because the Bitcoin's at 18.5. It did hit 19.8 at one point. So just a little under 20,000. We're looking, like I said, right now it's 18.5. So Bitcoin in December, actually no, Bitcoin was, that's right, Bitcoin was not $1,000 in December. It was a few $100 in December. So you would have broken a lot more than actually what's shown here. The crypto coins in the market today, as I mentioned, Monero, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple. This is the growth that they've done in the last 10 months. And this is crazy, guys. This is crazy. Actually, Ethereum and Litecoin, that's the growth that they've done in the last 12 months. Monero and Ripple is the growth they've done in the last 10 months. Ethereum and Litecoin is the growth they've done in the last 12 months. Monero and Ripple is the growth that they've done in the last 10 months. So let's just say $1,000 you invested in these 4 coins 10 months ago, you'd have about $27,000 in crypto that you can just exchange for US currency today. It's accepted. You can exchange Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum directly for US cash, which is why they have Bitcoin ATMs today. All right, so the problem that exists is that if you guys remember, were around during the .com boom. I mean, I was a kid, but I do remember it. There were a ton of scams that existed at the time. And the reason is that it was a growing market and there was a lot of money in it. So a lot of scam artists went into it. And essentially what happened was all of the websites and applications that built something that were concrete, something that was genuine for this community to help really grow this new technology that we were introduced to, right? The new way to share information was like, poof, we were gone. And the companies and infrastructure that really set up to help govern this and really keep it open and keep it public and keep it where it's at today, where we love it so much, were the ones that stuck around, right? So like, I'll give you an example. You have a website today, in order to rank high on search engines, you definitely have to have an SSL certificate, right? If you're a website owner, this is something you should know. So you need an SSL certificate because it shows that you're secure and so whatever. Now that's essentially just a corporation or an institution that created this process that now is required for all of the search that's required, that search engines require for you to have in order to rank high. And there goes another institution inside of the internet. We can't use the internet without a search engine, so we rely on Google for that, which is another great idea, right? Let's create this free open source way for people to search information, and we're going to control that. Awesome idea. So I'm sharing this with you because this is something that you can do with Bitcoin right now, your cryptocurrency. This is so new. This is right at that phase where you guys can start thinking of what companies, what things you can do to take part in creating and help govern this. Not just govern it, not like govern it, but like add to it, right? Now, what's going to help benefit this? Because that's what's happening right now. It's just a wild, wild west. So people that come in with these cool process that's going to say, hey, this is going to help verify this much more effectively, right? That's what we mean by like govern it. It's helping. It's making it better for us. So let's help spot out some of these scams that these new crypto coins that are scams that exist. For me, rule of thumb is if you go to their website, right? Every coin has their own website and what they're doing and so on and so forth. If you read up on what that coin is supposed to be, what problem it's solving or what it's doing, if it doesn't make sense, it's probably not worth your time. Okay? Just rule of thumb. If you're reading it doesn't make sense, it's just probably not worth your time. How do we spot a scam? If it doesn't solve any problems in the real world, it's probably a scam and not worth your time. If it doesn't solve any problems different from what Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, it's probably a scam. Stay away. If it claims to be able to solve a ton of problems at once, because of the fact that this is already a brand new technology and solving some problems are already difficult, right? So to be able to solve a lot of them at once could be just a lot of hype and BS. So just be careful, be wary. I do a lot more research if you do believe it's a real one. And it's good that it shows positive signs, strong social communities on like Facebook, Twitter. Because it's Bitcoin, they have a big Reddit following, Telegram, Slack, Discord, Bitcoin Talk. These are like the really most active places to be to get to what the community is saying about Bitcoin. All right, this is why crypto coins exist today. You have two types of Bitcoins. You have the same general philosophy of Bitcoin, which solves a separate problem, right? Or you have type B, which is if it's not A, they're a high possibility they're scams. I recently did a webinar called the Wealth Chef, and this is how she showed out the two coins. I loved it. I thought it was so simple, and it really just kind of gives us an overview of what we need to look out for, right? We already know the rules. So if it doesn't follow type A, doesn't hit those marks that we laid out in the previous slides, then they're type B, and you don't want to mess with them. And that's how you really just save time and just keep going on with your life with this. So why should you even care that Bitcoin is doing well, that it's going to grow, that it's going to be part of our global economy, or it is part of our global economy, that it might be introduced into our currency? Why should you care about all this, right? Well, because many experts have they've outlined what's called the stages of an economical boom, and it's happened many times before. The gold rush, the .com boom, now with the crypto boom, even a housing boom that happened, where they used the same, I guess, analogy. But I personally like the 4 stages, and I want to share that with you because it gives you a good viewpoint, or at least lets you see where you're at. In my opinion, where you're at today in the cryptocurrency market. So first stage is the early adopters, right? The Satoshi Nakamoto's who went in and they created this and spent 2 years just getting it going. And then 2 years later, he handed it off to his developers and said, here you go, it's open, it's fully tested, let's get this going. These guys are the ones that really, these first 2 stages are really the brave brave men and women who are just testing this out and getting this going and willing to take all the risk for us. And then you get over to stage 3, which is where I believe we're at right now, right? You have all these big institutions that are going to be taking part and already are taking part to adopt this new technology. Example, Apple takes Bitcoin. Craigslist just added an option for Bitcoin. Overstock takes Bitcoin. And there's like 20,000 different merchants that take Bitcoin. And the fact that we can trade our Bitcoin in directly for American dollar is another huge show that big institutions are accepting this, are going to take part in this. So why you're here is because you guys are in stage 3, where when it hits straight stage 4, first of all, it's going to be a frenzy, right? You guys are it's going to be difficult to get your hands on these coins. I'm going to tell you that right now. It already has happened already. This year was the first time ever that it was difficult for us to get coins. And it has to do with the amount of people that are on here shutting these exchanges down because they don't have the servers to be able to hold all this that's happening. It's booming. So you guys be at stage 3, getting ready to be introduced to stage 4, where mainstream is going to take part. If you guys secure yourself now, you guys are going to be in a fantastic position. So I wanted to share with you this slide as well, and it also, to me, the reason why I'm sharing it with you, because it lets me tap into this thought. And a thought that I want to open you guys up to. One thing that really that blew me away about the gold rush was that people who the percentage of people who made the most money in the gold rush were the people who built the institutions and the businesses around supplying these people to continue to dig and mine for this gold, right? Because the percentage of people that were digging and mining that actually found gold was a lot smaller than the people who were building these businesses that were allowing them to mine, and those businesses being successful. And the same thing happened in .com, guys. The Googles and the Yahoos and the Reddits, and these guys are stuck around, and it's because they built something smart around a technology that they knew was going to stick around forever. And the housing boom, even today, guys, the people who got in while this was happening in the very beginning, they're still profiting today, right? You can't make any more land. Land is what it is. So the fact that you get in at a great price point, that's something to never look back on. It's once in a generational, once in a lifetime wealth, right? So this is where we're at with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. We're at a big point, and this is going to be technology that will be here for a long period of time. It's not going anywhere, and you guys can be kicking yourself back like you did if you were around the .com time. So stage 3, like I said, Craigslist, Apple, IBM launched their own coin out of some sort of Chinese or Japanese bank. IBM, right? Amazon and eBay's question, right? Because they haven't accepted it just yet, but the minute they do, they're going to just announce it, right? They're not going to say, hey, we're going to release it in the next 6 months. No, they're just going to announce, hey, next month we're taking Bitcoin. And everyone's going to try to get a Bitcoin, like Black Friday. So you're in the stage 3 where I tell you right now, already from everything that we've researched, and Amazon CEO, eBay CEO, they already said we're showing interest, and we're looking at the technology. We're looking at how to offer it to our users. It's done. So when is the question? And will you have your coins then? Right? So let's talk about what to do right now. If you guys are hyped, you're like, well, what do I do? How do I do this? Get your game plan up. Right? Get your game plan up right now. Let's figure out what your cryptocurrency game plan is. And I'm going to share with you 4 strategies, or not strategies. I'm going to share with you 4 opportunities that I find to be lucrative in this current cryptocurrency market, so that you can help try to figure out what your game plan is going to be, right? It's not just buying and holding these coins. That's just one side of it. So right now, Bitcoin's an extremely volatile market, right? It climbs up high, it drops down low really fast. So there is that uncertainty at certain points with Bitcoin. Well, today they're finding that because of our other markets, our IRAs and stocks and funds are also volatile. They're finding that the volatility in Bitcoin can help balance that out somehow, right? So I'm sharing that with you because that's an opportunity. We shouldn't look at a volatile market and say, wow, that's not good. We should look at it and say, where are the opportunities in that volatile market? Because that's what they've already done. So I want to point that out to you guys, so you guys can get your thinking caps going and think of how you can capitalize in this volatile market. Okay. The second opportunity is buying and holding these valuable coins, right? The coins that I mentioned that are building technology that are here to stay. Imagine if you had bought stocks in Facebook. Facebook is killing it right now. Okay. So same thing. Imagine that you bought an IBM or Microsoft at the time. I mean, right? We can't just imagine, because right now we're stumbling upon that. So we're not going to have to imagine back. We're going to have to think and create a game plan for what we're going to believe to see that's going to be the same thing. Okay, so another thing is short-term cryptocurrency trades. This is really risky and time-consuming. Not one that I would suggest to like my friends or family. It would be something that I personally would probably explore on my own, but it wouldn't be something I would consult someone on how to do. But it is up here, and you guys can take advantage of these. Going in, getting a coin, waiting a few hours for it to do its thing, or even a day, and then bam, and just selling it back and building up that crypto portfolio. The fourth one is the one that I absolutely love and have been doing since 2012. It's investing in the blockchain technology companies themselves, and for me, it's about finding and building the applications that are going to help facilitate this growth for Bitcoin. So, what companies are going to do that? I'm always looking out for what technology exists out there, more so to be the creator behind it, not so much to invest. But I know that if I found a great company that did a great technology, as some of these other coins I mentioned, I'd invest. I would. What's the process, right? How do you go about getting a coin, getting another coin? Right? How do I go about buying a Bitcoin? How do I go about buying a Monero? How do I go about selling it back and getting my money back? All right, what's the process? So this is a traditional stock market investment system. Right here, the 6 steps that what we do in order to buy and sell funds on a stock market exchange. Right. The first thing is you open up your online broker account. You transfer money from your broker account to your you transfer money from your bank account to your online broker account. And then number 3, you design your portfolio. Then you buy stocks and funds inside of your online broker. And then number 4, you move on. Right. You let the market do its thing. Then you come back when you know that the market has done well to pull out your money. And so once the market has done well and you're ready to take that win, right, that 2, 3, 7, 12%, whatever it might be, you go back into your online broker account and you sell your stocks or funds inside of your online broker account. And then when you want to withdraw your money, you just transfer the cash from your online broker account to your personal bank account. That's how that works. Okay, today let's go back into Bitcoin land. Okay, in Bitcoin land, it's a 12-step process to buy stocks and funds. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our Bitcoin exchange account like a Coinbase.com. Okay, once you open up your Coinbase.com, you're going to set up your verification process, link your bank account to it or link your credit card to it, and then you're going to transfer money, essentially transfer money from that bank or credit card to your Bitcoin exchange account. Okay, now once your money is in your Bitcoin exchange account, you're going to transfer it for Bitcoins, right? That's number 3, exchange your fiat currency for Bitcoins or other coins. Coinbase actually allows you to buy 3 coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, and you can sell those back directly for American dollar. Okay, so just food for thought. Number 4, once you've bought these coins off of Coinbase or any other exchange, you're going to move them offline. Take them offline, right? Put them in a hard wallet. And the reason for that is because Bitcoin can't be hacked. I'm pretty sure I said that. You can't hack a Bitcoin. But the Bitcoin is sitting on a wallet that's on the exchange, which is just a web application. Now these guys have fantastic security, like Coinbase, top-notch security. They're US based, they're on it. But nothing is unhackable. We've seen that, right? The White House gets hacked, NASA gets hacked. They've all been hacked. So nothing's unhackable. So in 2012, there was an incident with a big exchange. The biggest of all at the time was called Mt. Gox, and they were hacked. Now, they didn't hack the Bitcoin. They hacked into their wallet, stole their private key, and stole all their Bitcoins. That's what can happen on Coinbase, right? So I'm not saying it will, it's highly unlikely, but a possibility. It's never a possibility when you take it off your hard wallet, and hard wallet's completely offline. You can store it in a safe, do whatever you want, your money's sitting there. We'll talk about what the difference is between a hard wallet, desktop wallet, mobile wallet, paper wallet. Okay, so now that you have it in your hard wallet, you're done. You have Bitcoins, and you can either find someone else to trade these Bitcoins for, whether it be for merchandise or whether it be personal trade or services, whatever, right? You have it. But let's say that you wanted to buy another coin, like a Monero coin. So this is how you do it. You go and you open up an account on Poloniex.com, which is one of the many exchanges that exist. There's HitBTC. There's a lot of exchanges. I can't think off the top of my head, but there's a lot of exchanges that are out there today that you can sign up for. And the way you choose is you choose the exchange based off the coin that they offer, right? If you want to buy Monero, you're not going to go and open up an account in an exchange that doesn't offer Monero coin. So you would first look and say, okay, what coins, what exchanges are selling Monero? And I'll tell you how to find all that in our future modules. So, all right, so now you want to buy Monero. So you open up your poloniexaccount.com account, right? You verify that again, an alarming amount of information, and then you move your Bitcoins that you have in your hard wallet into that exchange. Okay, into their wallet on your exchange, which is a cloud wallet, and now that you have your Bitcoins in there, you're gonna exchange your Bitcoins for Monero. All right, so you have your Monero. Now that's number 7. Now that you have your Monero, we're going to repeat step number 4. We're going to remove our Monero off of our online exchange, and we're going to put it back into our hard wallet. We're just going to hold it like we did in our stock investing exchange portfolio. So number 9 is you have these 2 coins. You have Bitcoin and you have Monero in this hard wallet. Now you can't find no one to trade it with, and you ran out of places to buy things from. You now need to pay for gas or bills. and you need to pay in American dollar or in yang or euro. So the way to do this is you take the coins from your hard wallet and you go back onto your Coinbase, not Poloniex, you go back onto your Coinbase wallet, your Coinbase exchange, and you transfer the Bitcoins that you have from your wallet into Coinbase, and you sell them back, right? That's how you do Bitcoin. But let's say you have the Monero coin. You say, well, I want to sell the Monero coin, not the Bitcoin. I want to keep the Bitcoin. So what you need to do is you need to go on number 9. You're going to go back to poloniex.com and you're going to exchange the Monero back for Bitcoin. It's going to do all that for you automatically, the value of what a Monero is to the value of Bitcoin. You're going to trade that. And then now you have the value of what the Monero increased to. You have the value now in Bitcoin. So now you take that Bitcoin amount in your Poloniex account, and you're going to send that over to your Coinbase account, the Bitcoin now, right? So now that you send the Bitcoin amount over to your Poloniex account, you're going to sell this Bitcoin on the exchange back for your currency. Once you sell it, it automatically deposits it into the checking you want, or you can send it to, they have a wallet on there as well, where you can just send your money and it sits on the wallet, so that if you didn't want to take it off, you wanted to maybe buy more Bitcoins in the future, or there's a lot of reasons why. But that's the 12-step process for investing in cryptocurrency and other currencies. All right. This is where you get started. I'm just laying it out for you guys, okay? Coinbase.com, just so you know, when you sign up, they give you a referral link so that if you share with people, so that people create more accounts, right? Hey, here you go, my friend, here goes my link. They give me $10 in American dollars, 10 American dollars in my Coinbase account for you signing up. I didn't add my link here, but if you're feeling generous, you can feel free to take a look at the video at the end, or download the presentation or the link below, and you can click on it and I'll make 10 bucks. But Coinbase is where you go and you set up your cloud wallet and you access their exchange. And as I mentioned, you can buy 3 coins: Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. Poloniex.com is where you buy and sell all the other coins, right? Monero, Ripple. You could even take your Litecoins and sell them for Bitcoins and then sell out. There's a lot of things you can do. All right. Blockchain.info is where the website where you can go see live what your block, when you're sending a transaction, what it's doing, how it's propagating through the network. And if you like that kind of stuff, it's really cool. All right. You have your hard wallets, your mobile wallets, your desktop wallets, and your paper wallets. A hard wallet, I use a ledger. You can just Google search a ledger, or if you sign up for cryptocurrency to cash.com, I offer them on the website. You can get them much faster than even the main website. It's out of I'm not sure where they're out of, but they just take a lot longer. So I build a partnership and I have a retailer's license for it. So if you want, you can go to my website, and I'm pretty sure I can have a ledger to you in about 2 weeks. Okay, but there's other hard wallets. I like the Ledger because it's about little over $100. Some of them are like $250, but Ledger is very reasonable, easy to use, and it looks really cool. Mobile wallet. These are some of the mobile wallets that exist that I've used. I've used Arcbit, Bread Wallet, and Mycelium. I just downloaded Bither, but I haven't used them yet. But you have Bitcoin Wallet, Grenbits, Mycelium, Arcbit, Bread Wallet, Bither, and there's other ones. And in my training, I'll show you where you can access all the ones that exist. All right, desktop wallets, you have your Bitcoin Core, Bitcoin Go, Electrum, and your Arcbit. Then you have your paper wallets, where you write your private key on a piece of paper and you store that somewhere. Okay, so this is where you get started. If you guys can screenshot this, or you want to download the presentation, it's there for you. Now, once you've done this, you just move on with life. Guys, this is not meant so that you're all frantic about it. I'm not telling you to dump your 401ks in, to take out loans, to sell your car, to get a lien on your house. None of those things. Take $50, $100 and just play with it. That's what we're saying. And then get on with your life. and Bitcoin is offering something unique to the marketplace. So at the very least, you're going to learn a lot about what it's doing and how you can benefit from it. But start little. Start very. I started really little. Okay, this is this asymmetric risk portfolio that I told you about, and essentially we've built ours out the same way you're seeing it here. We actually started with 300, but this is it. Okay, no more than 5 to 10% of your total investable assets. Only invest what you're comfortable losing. Use up to like $200 and spread it between 3 to 4 different coins. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum would be 3 I would pick. And then stay organized, right? So you can reduce human error and you can store your keys properly, because if you misstore your key, you lose that money. There's no one can unlock it. There's no hacker that can unlock it, so it's gone. So you have to store the key. Just an insight, there's only 21 million coins, and they estimated that about 4 million coins are already lost completely. So there's ever only going to be 17 million Bitcoins that exist. Be cautious when using new services, because they can sometimes be scams or not have the proper security. Plus, all the good ones have easy to use interfaces anyway and offer all this stuff. So just do your research or do the advanced course that I have, and you'll get all that. Store your cryptos on your personal wallets. Store your cryptos on your personal wallets. Store your cryptos on your personal wallets. Okay? Don't store them on exchanges. What are the possibilities with you and this information that I'm laying out for you? I love Helen Keller's quote, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." I want to inspire. Okay, get out there, get creative, put your thinking caps on, start making money, start building applications, start adding to this industry, make it open, make it canonical, make it for us to share and be a part of, and have no resistance with any outside influence, right? Let's do it, right? So if you can see this big picture, it's life-changing. It really is. And you guys can really make some big opportunities happen for yourself. Why are you even here on this webinar? I'm sure that you wanted to learn, you wanted to benefit from this boom, right? So for me, I don't ever regret the things I've done. I regret the things I didn't do. Always. So I'm not sure if that's you, but that is definitely me. So we're going to offer a comprehensive guide at the end of this, and you guys are welcome to take part. But we have given you a lot of information to go off of right now to just kind of explore this on your own, or if you need help, you can always reach out to us. So I want to leave you with this food for thought before we go anywhere. Uber, they are the world's largest taxi cab company with no vehicles. Facebook is the world's most popular media company. They create no content. Alibaba, the world's most valuable retailer, has no inventory, and the world's largest accommodation provider, Airbnb, has absolutely no real estate. We're in a world that's changing, and it's changing right in front of us every day. Okay, and it's not crazy to think anymore that we can have a decentralized currency. It's just not, guys. So get there. So I hope you guys are really seeing the big picture, because cryptocurrencies are here to stay for sure. And I mentioned this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for you guys. So it's not too late. I told you, I think we're in stage 3, guys. You guys, this is right. You guys would not have gotten in at stage 2, right? I would love to have been in at stage 1 of this. Love to. And even earlier stage 2. I would love to, just for the experience, but I'm sure not a lot of us would have taken that. And looking back, I say yes, but I don't know if I would have either. So you can do this the long way, the hard way, you know, going through the hurdles yourself, or you can do it a little bit easier and kind of take the guides that we're going to offer for you at the end, and you guys can get through this a lot faster and have just a jump start, right? Let's get the knowledge out that we've already learned, and let's put it to you guys in a way that you guys can really let it sink in for you. And we'll be there to help guide you. So we've created 5 modules. 4 of them are going to be all webinars, and they're going to be very similar, exactly like this. Actually, we're going to lay out slide for slide. We're going to have Q&A. We're going to lay out all of the material that is for that module, and what you're going to learn in these 5 modules are: how do you stop your scammers? How do you invest your investment strategy? How do you invest it? right? We're going to go over that asymmetrical risk portfolio, talk about your safety and security, your wallets. We're going to get you into being extremely comfortable being a crypto owner and exchanging it and just mastering that, right? You're going to secure your gains much faster. You're going to know how this is done. Buy, sell quickly. Boom, boom, boom. What apps, what resources you can use to help you do this better as well, be more effective. Because this is the beautiful thing about Bitcoin is it offers what's called an API. Woo! Won't get down that rabbit hole, but it's electronically letting other systems interact with your accounts, and you can create some pretty badass stuff for this that people already are. So module 1, we're going to dive in more in depth into the birth of the blockchain, what cryptocurrency as a market is, how to really protect yourself from some of these fake coins and from the crash that will come from these fake coins oversaturating the market, which coins to invest in, the safety guidelines of crypto, and how to invest it safely. Module 2, we'll talk about how to buy it. We'll show you where to get that international buying guide. We'll show you how to protect your crypto safely on offline methods. Module 3, we're going to get into the introduction of crypto wallets, right? We'll show you every single wallet that exists and go through all the wallets and why you would use different wallets, what money you should allocate to different wallets. All this is valid. Public and private keys will go a lot more in depth into, and the difference between Bitcoin and some of the other coins that exist on the market and what they're offering with their public and private addresses. Module 4, and the investing success principles of crypto. Share with you what coins have the best technology, the different exchanges, how to get on them, and what to do. Your crypto risk portfolio strategy will be completely built out. This is the money maker, number 4. We walk you through all that, number 4. And then how to spend your cryptocurrency and what merchants take it is be module 4. Module 5 is the resources that come with all this. So getting you connected with all the right social channels and the news and everything about cryptocurrency is going on in the community. The crypto expert specialists guides that we've been collecting, some of the useful tools that we use. We have a spreadsheet we've put together to help us with our to manage some of our offline trades and what our portfolios are doing offline. I'll show you where to get a complete copy of this blockchain code. You can own it. And then the social media channels and what good videos and good reads to if you want to know more, what you can learn from. So here we have the days that we're going to begin this training, the module 1, module 2 and 3, and then 4 and 5. And you guys can take part in the live training. If not, we're going to record it. If you're not watching this live, you're probably going to watch it recorded. So you'll have it available recorded for you when you log into your website account in cryptocurrencytocash.com. You'll have all these resources there. You can just click and download the video, watch the video there. You decide what you'd like to do, but it will be there after the training. So if you can't make the training, you'll still have this available to you when you sign up for the training. What I hope that you've gotten not only from this presentation, but also from the master course that we're providing, but it gets you the confidence up to kind of get up and moving and start doing something with this, because it's really a once in a lifetime opportunity for us. And if we can look at the ways that we can benefit from it, right? Not the negative, but the positive. We can really find avenues for us to grow here, not only for ourselves, but for this community that's seeking it. You know, get your guide on how to invest. I mean, I gave you some real good insight in the previous slides, but we'll go more in depth in the modules and then show you where to get started and the proper methods. I really want to thank you guys for coming out here today and taking this time, however much time we spent going over this new fiat currency. You guys entrusting in me to give you valuable information on this, and I did my best to relay this information in material that's relatable and understandable. So I hope you guys find value in that. If not, Sorry. But for the most part, you guys, we do have an advanced course you guys are welcome to join. Just go to cryptocurrencytocash.com and you can sign up for the master course. I thank you again. You guys have a wonderful time investing, and be safe, and have a good night. Okay, thank you again. This ends our webinar. We're going to head over to the Q&A section of the webinar. So thank you guys, and good night.